I'm Maureen from Maureen Grogan Therapies, and I'm a reflexologist and complementary therapist, and I have clinics based in Ina and Ennis and County Clare. One of the things that actually a few clients have contacted me about is hay fever and feeling utterly and totally miserable. So I just decided I'd come on today and just do a little reflexology sequence that might be of benefit to you. Unfortunately, the hay fever season continues from March until September, and we're heading right into it now. And especially with all the grass cutting, a lot of people are actually completely miserable. So like hay fever is an allergic response to pollen, but it can also be to dust mites. It can be triggered by feathers, can be triggered by dogs or cats, and ragworth can even trigger it as well. So there's quite a lot of gardening activity going on at the moment. So the pollen count is quite high. So some of the symptoms of hay fever include runny nose, nasal congestion, watery, itchy red eyes, sneezing, coughing, itchy nose. The roof of your mouth can be really itchy or dry as well, and your throat can be quite dry and scratchy. Some people experience postnasal drip, and one of the other things is exhaustion, because it really, really affects your sleep. So if you're not getting, any relief from your symptoms, when you try this, and some of you may be on medication already for it, but if you're finding that nothing is helping, you really do need to contact your GP. And the other thing I would say is that it's very important at the moment, because we have the coronavirus rampant, to be very aware of your symptoms. If you're already suffering from hay fever, then you'll know what your symptoms typically are. But if any of those symptoms are accompanied by really high fever or shortness of breath, if you're not asthmatic, then you really need to seek medical help. And the other thing, just to note with reflexology, is reflexology, it has a cause and effect on the body. So if you do it, it brings about change. And what you really need to be aware of is, if you have any underlying medical conditions, you need to speak to your doctor before you take on any form of self-treatment, whether it be reflexology or acupressure or anything like that. I mean, it's your responsibility to keep yourself safe. So if you're on blood thinners, or if you have very high blood pressure or anything like that, I wouldn't be doing any of this without speaking to your doctor first. So because it's an allergic response and an inflammatory response, just some of the reflexes we're actually going to be working on are the spleen, the tonsils, the throat, the eyes, the nose, the sinuses. We're also going to be working on the adrenal glands, and we're going to be working on the ileocecal valve because of the buildup of mucus in the system. And this is actually a very useful hand reflexology technique if you have food allergies as well. As well as eliminating those type of foods from your diet. If you do eat them, other than gluten, that's a whole other ballgame. But if you happen to eat something that triggers that hay fever reaction in you, this can actually be a helpful routine to do. Now, the whole routine takes about 25 minutes, so it's a really good idea if you can just put aside time for this, where you won't actually be disturbed, and create a nice environment for yourself. You can have some candles, you can have some incense burning, you could even be doing a little foot soak, you can have some nice hand cream as well if you want. But it's just about making it, and take it on at a time where you will have time to go through it, because it's a really relaxing sequence. Now, I've done it a little bit faster than I would normally do it if I was working on somebody's hands or if I was doing my own, but I was just conscious of not having the video too long. So I hope that it's of help to you, and if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to pop me a message, and enjoy the treatment. So this is the start of the hand reflexology sequence to help you with the symptoms of hay fever. So the first thing we're going to do is do some little relaxation moves with our hands, just kind of bring that sense of ease and free flow into the joints. So what you can actually do is you can actually start with some nice circling movements with the wrist, nice and slow. And then you can circle back in the opposite direction. Very nice thing to do even if you're working on a computer all day. Gives a lovely sense of freedom and relaxation, and works out any tension in the wrist joints. And then what we're going to do is we're going to clench our fists really, really tight as you can, and then just flick open your fingers. We're going to come back and do that again. And again, it's a great way to free up all the muscles in the hands. Do that one more time. And then what we're going to do, how I like to start a hand reflexology sequence, is just by connecting the 5 fingertips together And in doing this, we're actually balancing the elements, the 5 elements in the body from traditional Chinese medicine. So our thumb represents the element of fire, and that's universal consciousness. The index finger represents air, and that's our individual consciousness. Middle finger then is the element of ether or space, and that's our own connection. Our ring finger is the earth element, and the small finger is the water element. So in just connecting that, even alone, is just a lovely balancing movement to do for the body. And if you just bring your awareness into your body and what you would like to get from your hand reflexology treatment, and just bring your awareness to your breathing. It's just a lovely way to bring balance and calm into the body. So just take a few nice deep breaths. So then what we're going to do is just going to find the solar plexus in the body. So our bodies are very clever, even in the feet, the way it divides. So here, if you just fold your hand ever so slightly there, you can see there's an automatic little crease line that comes up, and that's actually the diaphragm line, and that's underneath the lung reflex here. And the diaphragm actually separates the lungs and the respiratory system from the abdominals and from the digestive system, and it's also the large muscle that expands and contracts when we breathe. So it's a very nice one to work as well, and we'll be doing that in a minute, but just for now I want to find the solar plexus reflex. So in between the 3rd and 4th fingers at the base, if you just crease your fingers again, just there at the base of the respiratory system there's the little solar plexus, and it's just a lovely area. I would have posted diagrams before marking it on the hand, but it's a lovely one to work for peace and calm. So again, we just do some nice circular movements there. And it doesn't matter which hand you start with, because you're going to be working both sides anyway. So again, we come along to the other side, and again, we're looking for our little crease line. And between the 3rd and 4th finger, just at the base, we're again going to work the solar plexus. So then we're going to go back, and we're actually going to work the diaphragm line. I just love this for relaxation. It's just really nice to relax your body before you do anything. It just prepares the body for any sequence of treatment. So just little circle massages. Now I'm doing this slightly quicker than I normally would do, but I'm just conscious of not having the video too long and showing you where all the points are. So when you're doing this for yourself and you follow the video a few times, you get used to it, you can just go back and slow it down at your own pace. And for any, shortness of breath or breathing difficulties, the diaphragm is a wonderful reflex to relax as well. Because the first thing we do is we kind of hunch forward and we compact that whole area. So this is just really nice to open it out. And again, we go across and we find the same line, and we do the same thing on the other hand. Back here and do the same thing again. I'm just doing this 3 times, but you can do it more if it feels good to you. Also, if you find any little tender or gritty areas, you can just stay on it for a few minutes and just work it out. All it means is just that there's a little bit of congestion in that area, or tightness or tenderness. You just work it until the tenderness eases, and it does ease pretty quickly. So the first reflex we're going to work, it's part of our immune system and is our spleen. So how you find the spleen is, again, it's under that little diaphragm line, and it's in line with the 4th and the 5th fingers. So again, very cleverly, the body has marked out our little lines where we can find things. So it's literally in between those 2 lines and in between those 2 fingers. So again, all we're going to do is we're going to circular massage. In reflexology, if we're doing a treatment, we're using a technique called thumb walking, but if you're not used to doing that, it's just easier to do it with circular massages. And you use the level of pressure that's actually comfortable for you to use. I'm just covering that whole area there with little circular massages. Now the spleen can actually be quite tender, so just very gently work it if there's any tenderness there. And it's a big part of our immune system, so it's really, really important to work the spleen well, and it's only found on the left hand. So you're only doing this movement on one hand. So the next area we're going to work are the tonsils, and we're going to work the mouth as well. So the mouth reflex is actually found on the crease of the thumb line there, just at the side of the finger, on the bony surface there. So we're just going to circle massage there for the mouth. And then we're actually going to work our way around the thumb. So you're working across the joint, so it's very easy to find. And then you're coming right around. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there. It's just hard to get the camera at a good angle. Ooh, there's something a bit tender there now, so I'm going to stay and work that. Just for a few moments. And you can move the angle of your finger to do it. I'm just trying to do it this way. If you were doing it on yourself, you'd continue around. I'm literally just turning my finger just so you can see what I'm doing, but this would be a very uncomfortable position for you to work yourself. And again, I'm just going to work that maybe 2 or 3 times because I have felt tenderness there. And even if your tonsils are removed, believe it or not, the energy of the tonsils is still in the body, so it's still good to work these reflex points as well. Back to the mouth area again, and just once more. And again, back around from there. And again, as I said, you'd be doing this a lot slower than I'm doing it now, but it's just to demonstrate the points. And again, we're off to the other hand, so we're starting again at the mouth. Working across, a little work to the mouth there, and just working across the joint of the thumb to the other side. And again, as I said, if you were doing this yourself, you'd relax your hands down and you just continue to work at the back of the finger. But again, I'm just turning it to demonstrate. It's just very interesting that there was tenderness on the left hand but not on the right, so that can often be the case. One tonsil can be a little bit more tender than the other, and just stay with it and work it all out. So again, come around the back of the thumb on the joint. And the next area we're going to work is we're going to work the throat. So that is on between the joint of the thumb here and the base of the finger. That's the entire throat there. So we're going to work again like you're working the cervical spine when you come down here. So, which is a lovely thing to do as well. So just a couple of little, just on the bony surface of the ridge at the side of the thumb, just work down the cervical spine. And then we're just going to work again. I'm just going to work the front first, and I'll show you a couple of different ways you can actually work this. And then you can come around the back and just work your way. You can work from inside out, but I'll show you an easier way to do it. Again, it's just about finding what's easy for you to do. So you can actually use your thumb and your first finger, and you can actually just work it from the joint down to the base of the finger. And then you can just slightly move your fingers around, front and back, and work it from the joint down. Main thing is just to make sure that you're covering all of that surface area between the joint and the base of the finger. I think I quite like doing it this way actually. And then what I like to do is work upwards, believe it or not, from the base of the finger. Again, no right or wrong. It's just once you cover all that area. And then we're off to the other side. So I'm just going to work down between the joint and the base of the finger on the bony side of the thumb there, just again because I'm working my cervicals. And again, circular massage, and just make sure that your wrist on the hand that's doing the work is not strained. Just make sure you've got a nice relaxed posture all the time. Again, my hand is, I'm turning it slightly differently because I'm trying to demonstrate, but you can work with your hand flat down. And again, we're working both sides there. Again, I'm working the back. And that covers the throat area. It's great for scratchy throat, any irritation. So the next thing we're going to work are the eye reflexes, and this is really good for any streaming or itchy eyes as well, and that's located just at the base of the index finger here, just above the crease. So again, we're going to work entirely around that area. So we're going to start here and just literally work that entire area there and come around the back of the finger. Just work back to where you started. Now the other way you can do it is you can do it this way, or you can do it this way, supporting the finger. I think it's important to keep your hand in a nice relaxed position. And again, if there's any eye issues going on, you'll feel grittiness there. It's a very good one for tired eyes as well, just if your eyes are tired after being on a computer as well. It's a very nice one to work. And it just kind of brings that little bit of relief to your eyes as well. So again, we're working the crease just above the crease on the finger, and working all the way around there. Now you could start all these moves if you wanted and do them on one hand and then go on to the other, but I think just sometimes it's easier to demonstrate it on both, and you're more inclined to work along with it as well, and it saves you rewinding the video to go back. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work the sinuses, and the sinuses are represented on all of the fingers back and front. So what you can do again is you can start and you can use your thumb and your middle finger to start at the base of the fingers, not middle finger, sorry, index finger, to work your way all the way up to the top of the finger. And again, if you find any grittiness or congestion, a little bit there now, just stay with it for a few moments until it works itself out. And then you're covering from the base on the front, you cover the entire surface of the fingers. And again, you would be doing this much slower than I would be at the moment. Work your way all the way back up again. And just a nice even pressure back and front, just circular massage. Just making sure you cover all of those surfaces. Then on to the next finger. Working our way all the way to the top. And you can imagine how nice this is now if you have nice music and some incense burning as well. Just create a nice relaxed environment for yourself to do this, and treat it as a treat to yourself. And the important thing to remember is just keep your hands totally relaxed all the time. If you find you're having tension in your arms from trying to support your hand, then your positioning isn't great. So just readjust. I think it's lovely to know areas on the hands that you can do to relieve, tension for yourself. Again, come off the back. Just making sure I've got the side done there. Then onto your little finger. And again, if you find any tension or any grittiness, just stay with it. Then we're on to I'm going to do the thumb as well on this side, because the thumb has all the reflexes for the head and brain. We've already done the throat and the what you call it, the nose as well. And just to bring specific focus to the nose, it's just here at the base of the side of the thumbnail here. You're literally just coming over onto the side of it, and that's working the nose as well. Thought I'd done that already, but you know, when you're doing it for yourself, you do it in an order, and then when you're doing it as a demo, it's easy to get sidetracked. So again, just making sure that all the surface of the thumb is covered as well, and just over the nails as well, up on the side and then up on the back as well. And then we're on to the other side, so we just repeat the same thing on the other side, literally working up the sides. And then working back and front at the same time. Just make sure you've covered all surfaces and staying with any little gritty areas or tense areas. And at a much slower speed. To the pinky. Again, a little bit of tension there, so I'm just going to stay with that for a minute and just work that. And then back to the thumb. Just always bring your awareness to the part of your body that you're working on. So I'm working on the head and brain. And then we're coming back to work the nose, which is just at the side of the fingernails, just on this side of it here. So we're actually just going to work that in little circular massages as well. The next area we're going to go on to then is the adrenals, and how you find the adrenals. If you see these two little crease lines here, little areas here, literally it's like the V, and just at the top of that V in line, it's kind of between the first and second finger there, just there, and you can circle massage the adrenals as well, and there to manage the inflammatory response. And Hayfever is an inflammatory issue because it's dealing with too much histamine in the body. So again, the adrenals, especially if you're under stress, your adrenals can actually be quite tender. So it's nice to stay on these for a few minutes and just massage that out. And you can just hold that point as well, just to bring a little bit of balance in there. And same on the other side. Again, look for your little point where those two meet, and you're literally just in there. And we're circle massaging again. And again, staying with it. If it's a little bit tender, just nice and slow. Great points for headaches as well, the adrenals. And you literally just hold it there for a second, and literally holding, you're just having your thumb on top of where you've just been massaging. And the next point we're on to is the ileocecal valve. And the ileocecal valve is the little valve that connects the large and the small intestines, and there can often be a huge buildup of mucus here, and this is especially useful if there's a food allergy like a dairy intolerance. So how you find the ileocecal valve is, you know, there's a little bone here, just there, just above the bone, and that fleshy area there, that's your ileocecal valve. And again, that can be a little bit tender, so just work that nice and gently there. And if there is a little bit of tenderness, or a little bit of, you feel there's anything going on there, just stay on it for a few minutes. It's very, very good to break up all that mucus. It's nice and slow. And the next thing we're going to do, and it's one of the final moves, we're actually just going to work on the lymphatics. So what we're going to do there is we're actually just going to massage. You can see the webs of the fingers there. So what we're going to do is we're just going to massage in between the fingers all the way down to the wrist. Come back up and do the same thing again. Between each of the fingers, you're just going to bring it down to the wrist. Same thing again here. And again, you could find tenderness here because you know, lymphatics can become quite easily congested. So you can also do it this way. And what you do then is you literally just massage from the outside in, just trying to do this in a way like I would normally turn my wrist and work across the back of it, but it's just to show you what to do. Literally work from the outside in and just come up on the bony edge of your thumb. I hope you can see what I'm doing there, and just go across the thumb here, maybe 2 or 3 strokes, and then down between the web there, because the subclavian vein is in there, and we want to, it's one thing to clear it, but we need to clear it out as well. So you can again just bring it down there, slide across the wrist like that, slide up on the bony surface of the thumb. Now obviously if you're going to your reflexologist for treatment, there would be a lot more you know, we work slightly differently, but I'm just showing you a short version of it to do at home for yourself. So again, you can slide down on the webs between the fingers, bringing it all down to the wrist. Bring it across the wrist here, from outside in. Slide up on the thumb, across the base of the thumb, and in between the web of the thumb and the first finger. So I'm just going to do that again. Slide across from outside in, slide up on the outside on the bony ridge of your thumb, across the base of the thumb, just above the joint here, and then into your subclavian vein. And one of the last things I'm going to do is just going to give the fingers just at the sides of the cuticles just a little pinch there. It's like a little zing. It's just a great way to give a little boost of energy. And again, you're not pinching on the cuticle, you're pinching at the sides. And again, you've got all your meridians on the sides of the fingers as well. So it's a lovely way just to wake everything up. And we're just going to finish again by connecting our 5 elements and maybe taking 3 nice deep breaths. And that's the hand reflexology treatment for hay fever, and I hope you found that beneficial. And I'm hoping you all have a lovely day, and thank you.